Don't worry. I just want to make sure I start at the top of the hour because it's a really jam-packed class, and I have a few things that have nothing to do with the class. So I'm just going to entertain you until it's time to start. I'm going to attempt to entertain you. So it was cool, right, when I came on stage with the fabulous Star Wars characters, right? That made me cool, right? My cool factor went up a lot. Am I right? I'm right. I know, I could tell I was cool. I was like, I've never been cooler, actually. Okay, so then if you went to the technology trends yesterday, yeah? And you remember I said, Star Wars is coming out this weekend, right? Cool factor, straight back down. Did you notice that? Did you notice that? Stormtroopers, cool, not knowing when Star Wars opens, straight down. And you could just see the Star Wars real fans out there just looked at me, they're like, oh. And they're like, apparently it opens on the 18th. Okay, so I've been very concerned because I loved the cool part and then I realized I'm out again. So I just wanted to tell you that I actually am cool. I want you to know that I live in the same town as George Lucas lives in. Does that make me cool? His house is just a little bit bigger than mine. A little tiny bit. But he actually grew up in the same town that I live in, San Anselmo, and then I think he bought like, you know, a hill or something. I don't know, a great big huge mountain in the town. It's a very small town in Northern California, just north of San Francisco. So now if you want to stalk me, now you know the town I live in, which is really important. But he dedicated a park in the town called Imagination Park. For any of you who are true Star Wars fans, this is like Star Wars Mecca. And can you kind of see there that there are two statues in the park? One of Indiana Jones and the other one of Yoda. It's a little fountain. It's very, very, very cool. And George Lucas paid for the park, and he came out and he dedicated the park. And it's so that, am I cooler again? Cooler? A little bit? And he shops at the same supermarket I shop at. Well, I've heard that. I've never seen him there, but I heard that. So anyway, so this town is a very small town. It has a little tiny downtown area, and George Lucas looks the other way, and there are trademark infringements everywhere. There's like this ice cream store that has like Wookiee cookie and Darth Vader chocolate, and they get away with it because George won't say anything, because we're on a first-name basis now, me and George. They won't say anything. So anyway, this Imagination Park is very cool. It's a beautiful park. There's actually a plaque, which I didn't have a picture of, that says this is where Star Wars was dreamed up, because he actually, thought everything that became Star Wars there in San Anselmo, and apparently spent a lot of time at this particular location, and there's a little plaque. So for those of you who looked your nose up at me and said I was out and not cool again, you come to San Anselmo, I will take you to the park, all right? If I'm in town, that's the only catch. But anyway, so this is the best part of the park. Okay, so there's a sign there that says no pets on the grass, and there's also this flood horn that goes off. It's fabulous every Friday at noon. But there's a sign that says no pets on the grass. And where I live in Marin County, that might as well say put all of your dogs right here on the grass and have them do whatever they want. Because it's where I live, dogs, people, okay, just so you know. And then this is the best part. Well, you can't see right next to that sign? Is that funny? Am I the only one who thinks that's funny? I'm like, well, I think you're sending mixed messages. I'm just saying. Okay, anyway, that was my entertainment. All right. Was there anything else I wanted to say before I started? Oh, that was it. That's all. Am I cool again? Kind of? No. It would be cooler if I knew him, huh? I should have just said that, because it's not like you would say, no, you don't, right? Unless you knew him and you would ask him. And that would be just my luck. All right, so I just wanted to also, before we get started, just mention that how many of you went to the fabulous Jeannie Arhus's class this morning? That's the right answer. Look at, only a few of you. Okay, so Jeannie has kind of a similar topic. Hers isn't as fast-paced. She's a fabulous class. Is Jeannie here? Jeannie? Jeannie's not here? She's always here. We try to sit in on each other's classes. I wasn't able to make it this morning, but I saw she had some similar tips in her class, so I'm going to apologize for that ahead of time, because we should talk more to each other. Each year we kind of go back and forth. I go first one year, and then she ends up having to do the repeats, and then the next year she goes first, and so anyway. So anything that she talked about this morning that has to do with the new release of AutoCAD, you'll hear that again from me because of the tips and tricks booklets that you guys got when you walked in, right? Did you get them? Yep, okay, so those are focused on 2015 and 16, so those will be in there. I have to start now? Okay, all right. I have my fabulous timekeeper, Lynette. And were any of you here that year that I fell? Do you remember that? Like I was running and I tripped on part of the screen thing and I went rolling in a ball and it was like bleeding. Do you remember that? And do you remember what I was mad at? No man helped me. Not one man. Two women, one of them was one of my best friends, and Lynette, came running over to me. No men. Two, exactly. All right, sure. He would have helped me. And so now she's my timekeeper and my very good friend. So that's, see, it all works out. If I fall this time, you're going to help, right? Okay, all right. Okay, moving right along. So the goal today, I'm going to go through a massive amount of tips, 60 minutes. If I get all the way to the end, we'll get to your favorite part, usually the favorite part on ways to torture your coworker. Workers. Those are extra bonus tips, so I have to go pretty fast, or we can just go 5 minutes over if that's okay with the next presenter. And there's no way I'm going to share with you 60 tips where you don't know any of them, because you all know different things. So my goal is that you just walk away with maybe, well, the more the better, but at least a good dozen tips that maybe you didn't know about that you can put to work in the office when you go back to work, which hopefully is not Friday, right? Or did any of you tell your boss it was a 2-week seminar? All right. Smart. Smart. Okay, and there's also, we have a game, and if you haven't been here before, this is the part where I'm not going to tell you how you win. The rest of them know. So the prize is the typical Black Knight from Monty Python and the Holy Grail, which is awesome because it's like, ah! It's just a flesh wound. Yeah, there's that. He has all the limbs come off. It's awesome. I actually used to have a picture of my dog walking around with one of the limbs. It was hysterical, but anyway. Except he's missing a limb now. Anyway, and then for Big Bang Theory people. You remember this? Rock, paper, scissors, lizard. Very good. What is it? Scissors cuts paper, paper covers rock, rock crushes lizard, lizard poisons Spock, Spock smashes scissors, scissors decapitates lizard, lizard eats paper, paper just proves Spock, Spock vaporizes rock, and as it always has, rock crushes scissors. There you go. So you get to pick. This is an extra large, but you know, dryers fix everything. So, all right, there we go. All right, here's the limb. I'll give you the limb later. Okay. All right, so let's get going. Enough, 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 enough. So, I have a lot going on. I have to remember to do this and do that and do this. Okay, so dimensioning. AutoCAD 2016, my absolute favorite features are the new dimensioning features. How many of you have tried the new dimensioning features in AutoCAD 2016? Okay, so just really quickly, and I'll run through these after I give it a little bit of a premise. How many of you have used AutoCAD long enough to remember the old dim mode in AutoCAD? Okay, all right, so we used to go into dim, right? And then we would go into our dimensioning command. Okay, that's gone. So if you still use that, which you probably shouldn't, this one's newer, it's better. It's kind of a one-stop shop. Same idea, you go into dim mode, do your dimensions, and then you get out of dim mode. And I love it. You guys like it? Good stuff, good stuff. All right, so I'm going to go very, very quickly. This is not a funny class. That's all the funny you got earlier because I have to go so fast, which is kind of a bummer. All right, so here we are in AutoCAD, right? And this is the deal. Of course, you're going to go to Annotate, and this is the new one-stop shop dimensioning tool. The old guys are still there. You can still do the regular dimensioning that we've been doing for years and years, but I'm going to encourage you to try the new one-stop shop. And one of the main reasons why I suggest that is because there's this cool new drop-down that you can tell AutoCAD you want your dimensions to go on the dimension layer. You can set this ahead of time. You can tell it what layer you want for dimensioning, and then you don't have to worry about changing your current layer when you go to dimension. It will just do that for you automatically, but only if you use the new dimension tool, all right? And of course, there's a new system variable because we don't have enough system variables called dim layer. Taking off my bracelet because it's serious. So you could type in anything you wanted. If the layer does not exist, it will create it. And if it does exist, it will just set it. It will use the defaults to create the new layer. But then you can put it in a script file because it's accessible from the command line, right? Okay, let's go into the new dimension tool, which is freaking awesome. I love it. I love it. Because nobody goes into the office and says, yay, I get to dimension today, right? Nobody's ever said that, ever. Well, if they did, they're not right in the head, so am I right? So this is so easy. You simply select an object, and then you pick where you want the dimension to go. I currently have my object snaps off, right? And you just keep going. Pick anything you want. Not that I would dimension that and pull it out. Very simple, very straightforward. Pick it, pull it out. Very simple, okay? If you turn your object snaps on, then you can pick the 2 corners. If you like to work harder, you're welcome to do that. But of course, in some cases, you have to do that because it's not a complete object. If I decide I want to dimension this spiral staircase, I missed, bad shot. Oh, did it take me out? Okay, also very important. When you're in dim mode, if you do an extra enter or an escape, even though I made a mistake in my pick, it will take you back out to the command line. Can you see that? Okay, very, very, very important. If you want to undo the last dimension that you did, you have to do that in dim mode while you're still in there. If you go out to the command line and I did an undo here, what would happen? All those dimensions will go away. You will all learn that the hard way, but I can't say I didn't warn you. All right, so let's go back into dim because I fell out. And I was a bad shot because there's a lot of people looking at me. So very simple, you pick the objects that you want. Let's zoom in a little bit so I can get that radius. And then if it's doing radius and you want it to do diameter or vice versa, you can see down at the command line, you can switch over back and forth. If you have dynamic input on, it'll be a little bit faster. But you can go back and forth and pick anything that you want, okay? Very simple, very straightforward. Do not hit escape. All right, so what if you want to do angular dimensioning? Well, once you select 2 objects that are not parallel, thank you, glad you came, then it's easy enough, and you can see if I zoom out, it's going to pick a variety of different angles based on what you pick, where you're moving the cursor. Very simple, very straightforward, okay? And there's a lot more to it than what I'm showing you, but I think you get the general idea. It takes a little practice because you haven't been doing it that way, but once you get into it, I think you're going to love it. All right, what happens if you decide to put a dimension on top of another dimension? In fact, let me turn the input on so you can see that just a little bit better. Dynamic mode. You see that on there? So it gives you 3 options: move away, break up. It sounds like my relationship, sorry. I'm kind of sad now that I'm showing this feature, but anyway. Replace and none. So none will actually just leave it where it is, and you'll be able to hear your drafting teacher crying when you leave it there. But that's up to you. So let's start out with move away. And you'll see that the dimension you just placed gets to stay where you put it, but the other dimension moves away from that one, okay? So the other dimension kind of loses that. Let's do one more. And you can see I'm kind of bouncing. I'm turning my object snaps on and off just to get this. What if I break up? Again, you'll see that it'll actually turn it into, in this case, a continued dimension where it actually places it within the dimension it's on top of. So like I said, these things take a little bit of time to get used to. So try it, though. It's awesome. Awesome. All right. And last but not least, an Augie wish list. I love the Augie wish list. Items. So are you going to go to the Augie meeting tonight? Yeah. So every year they give an assortment of wish lists to Autodesk, and then we run back in and try to make them all true. So quite a few wish lists were granted in 2016. Double click, Lynn. Oh, it's so hard when there's everybody looking at you. Okay. Go, go, go. Why aren't you doing it? I think it's too much coffee. Now I did it. Go. All right, thank you. So now if you've ever wanted to do word wrap in your dimensions, you want it to be easy. So now you can very easily double click, no coffee. And then you can simply grab the slider bars and control how wide it is, okay, etc. All right, so if you take a look at the PowerPoint, I'm so spoiled this time because I actually have a screen up for the PowerPoint. New dim command, new dim layer, the name, how to do it, angular, options and overlapping. Okay, I told you all that. All right, let's move. So the next one, the user interface. All right, so there's a few changes in the user interface inside of AutoCAD 2016. To start off with, we have the Start tab that came out in 2015, but we called it New tab, and we're just trying to confuse you by changing the name. Yay, now it's called Start tab. Completely different, looks exactly the same. Okay? All right, but it's not. Some of you like New tabs, Start tab, you pick your release. It's up to you. If you don't like it, you can actually turn it off by setting Start mode to 0, and while you are, and you have to actually turn it off and then leave AutoCAD to come back in before you will see it will happen, so don't think that you're losing your minds. And you can also, as you're deploying it, you can say, look, I don't want the Start tab. Okay, so that's up to you. How many of you like the Start tab? How many of you wanted to die a terrible death? If you've used AutoCAD for a long time, then you don't want anything in the way between you and your command line, and we're kind of pre-programmed. But imagine opening AutoCAD for the first time and seeing a bunch of, an empty piece of paper with graph lines on it. It's not very friendly. So there's some nice things in here. I'm going to actually show you something now that I'll talk about later. There's 2 tabs in here. Very simple to figure out. You don't need me to show you any of this. You start a new drawing. These are the previously viewed drawings. Make sure in the options dialog box you have the number of previously viewed drawings set to as high as it will go, which is the number 50, because it defaults to 9, which is a terrible, awful default. Okay, make sure you have it set to 50. I'm not going to show you that right now. Options, you'll find it. And but what I do like about this, there's 2 tabs on here. There's Create and Learn. I found out if for some reason Create and Learn do not show up on the bottom of the screen, if you hit F5, they will. Who knew? Just so you know, in case you don't have it. But I love the tip of the day, upper right-hand corner. Like I said, this is a tip for later on, but it allows you to go back and look, take a look at what it's supposed to change every day, make yourself smarter, gives you a chance to just kind of, on all that spare time you have in the office, to take a look at the tips. And then you don't need me, really, if you just look at the tips. I haven't looked at them. I don't know if they're good tips or not. But they're tips. Those all look like they're the same tip. Anyway, they're fabulous. All right, so let me see what else have I got on there. So galleries. Do we have any ribbon rebels out there? Ribbon rebels? You guys all using the ribbon? You finally caved and used the ribbon, right? It's not going away, right? You finally like, all right. So one of the nice things that I think they put into 2015 is the ability to, when you go to the Insert tab of the ribbon, you go to the Insert tool, you will see that all your blocks automatically show up. See, I think that's cool. Somebody didn't like it. Oh, let's be in the viewport, geez. Sorry. I think you get the idea. You can drag and drop it. Somebody didn't like it, so now there's a system variable. You can turn the gallery view to 0 for you who are gallery haters. The galleries also show up if you take a look at your styles, your text styles, dimension styles, emulator styles, etc. Somebody didn't like them. Anybody not like them? Anyway, I'm just telling you. Cursor badges, you can see that example of a cursor badge. Those were put into 2000, was that 15 too? Yeah. 2015 as well, and somebody complained about that, so now there's a system variable to turn those off. See how we roll? Except that this is the best part of that system variable. Can you see that up there? You set it to 1 to turn it off. And guess what and you can see what you set it to turn it on? 2, of course. What does 0 do? Nothing. Yay. Okay, so let's go back over to, I don't have to go back over. Geez, I'm so used to going back and forth between the PowerPoints. I'm very, very spoiled. So just a couple of other things. It was added in that you can actually click on this plus, right, to create new layouts, which I like. It just numbers them. That's not a tip. It's not even on the screen. It's a bonus. But some of you are really layout crazy, and you have a lot of layouts. And you'll see that the layouts are now in line with, I'm going to keep adding them, in line with the status bar, which I love because I'm really greedy with my screen real estate. If you have a lot of layouts, you may like it the old way. Bless you, you may like it the old way. If you do a right click, you can put it back above the status bar. That's too many layouts if you can't. Sorry, in my opinion. And then also, I don't know if you noticed inside of AutoCAD 2015, they left off at least one, I think, is a pretty essential thing that you have on the status bar. They accidentally left off isolate objects, which is awesome if you want to torture your coworkers. You know what isolate objects does, right? You select a bunch of objects, you can do a right click, and then you can hide them. You could hide a whole drawing. And nobody would ever know unless they know by looking at the icon in the lower right-hand corner that you have objects that are isolated or hidden. Well, they got rid of the icon in 15. That's funny, no? I think that's hysterical. So they realized they made a mistake, they put that one back, and the other one they put back is the there's so many screens, the lock UI. So you can go in and lock things down, you can move them and lock them, you can not move them and lock them and things like that. So there you go. What else have I got? If I do a right click on any file tab, there's cool things in here, right? One of the cool things was close all other drawings. So whatever was the tab you clicked on would stay open, all the rest of them would get closed down. Okay. And then someone said that would be cool if it was a real live command, so they did add in an actual command for that, the close all other command. I guess if you want to write a script file, I don't know. I like to right click and click now. I didn't used to though. It was always used to be all typing, right? right, is that all of them? Is that all of them? She's raising her hand. I'm on 14. That's pretty good. Oh, I keep hitting page down. Okay, got it. Oh, too hyper for this. Oh, I saw you first, even though there was probably someone else first. So this is a very complicated game. Rabbit shows up, and only a rabbit. Rabbit shows up, then you get to pick between these only 2 prizes, because I have to go fast. Do you want a black knight that's already lost a couple limbs, or do you want the T-shirt? The shirt? Okay, come up later and get it. Is that okay? Oh my guys, there's like no enthusiasm. Come on, people, people, people. Yay! And I put chocolate on some of the chairs. How many of you got chocolate? That's my way of bribing you. Actually, my thought process was to get people to sit in the front. You know, people never sit in the front. But then I had extra chocolate, so I sprinkled it around. But not enough chocolate for everybody. And my mom taught me to always make sure you have enough for everybody, so I'm sorry. I'm really, next year. Chocolate for everybody next year, okay? All right, so revision cloud. So a little trivia for you. I'm sure many of you have used the rev cloud command for years. It used to be an express tool. Before that, it was actually a tool that went on the bonus tools that was written by Dave Harrington. It used to be the Augie president. I don't know if Dave's here or not. So he wrote this tool, and everybody loved it because we had no way to easily make revision clouds. It became a bonus tool, and eventually the Express tools got a hold of it, and then they kind of ramped it up and, you know, made it better. And then eventually, you know, that a lot of the Express tools grew up and became real-life AutoCAD commands, and so that's where we got the new the old rev cloud and the new rev cloud command. So one of the things with the rev cloud command was, I mean, it worked fine, but it was easy to make really, wonky looking arcs, right? Especially when it came to editing them, which is fine if you're like making, you know, a shrubbery, I just wanted to say that, or something like that. But if you want to make a nice looking revision cloud, it was always a drag when you tried to edit it. So now we have this awesome revision cloud. All right, so let's go to, I think I moved it around because I didn't know my screen was going to be so big, and sometimes it falls off the end. Usually this is at the end. So actually, let's go over to this other drawing. Let's go over here. Please hold. Got it? All right. So very similar to the way it used to work, and don't worry, you can put it back to the way it used to work if it makes you happy. Rectangular, pretty straightforward, yay. But if I click on it, you can see it has totally decent looking grips. Big deal. This was a big wish list request to make a better revision cloud command, right? Very straightforward. Of course, you can do polygonal, same deal. Very, very simple, very straightforward. If you want to do circles or ellipses, you need to draw those objects first. Then you go into the rev cloud command, and you're going to select an object, the object. Same idea. And once again, very easy to edit. That's one of the nicest things about it. Okay, the big Augie wishlist request was the ability to take more than one revision cloud and basically put them together. Okay, so this isn't exactly the way I thought they were going to do it. You actually go back into the rev cloud command and you do M for modify. And then you select the one you want to work off of. And then you proceed to go ahead and draw your revision cloud. And then it wants to know which side you want to erase. You can see that wouldn't make a lot of sense, but you could if you wanted to. If you wanted a unique shape you didn't already have, or I guess decided you couldn't draw it that way to begin with. So very straightforward, very simple. Just do modify. So there is the rev clouds grips system variable for those of you who want to put it back. It's literally a toggle. So once I turn that off to put it back to the legacy behavior, you can see that these guys are all the way they used to be. You can make a tree or a plant or whatever you want to make. Whatever makes you happy. Okay. Ooh. Nice. Okay. But then if you do it again, turn it back on, they go back to they're smart again. Okay? So, right. This class is hard to teach. Okay. We've all over the years figured out how to, let me come back over here, how to put frames around our text. Use rectangle commands. Some of us got very creative with mleader. Well, now it's not in mtext, not in the mtext editor, which maybe is where I would have thought it would have gone. It's actually in properties. If you select existing mtext and then you go over to properties, you can actually pull it down to the very last option under text, and you'll see that there's a new option for text frame. And I'm sure that there's some variables that control this. I don't know what any of them are. I tried to find them, couldn't find them. They control the size or how far away they are from the text. It's just what you, it's like this. So I'm sure that they will add some variables maybe in the next release. But it looks great, it's easy. And then we added in 2015 the ability to do match properties, right? If I double click to go into the mText editor, and actually in Jeannie's class, I remember her talking about this, that last year, match properties wasn't sticky. And do you know what I mean by that when I say sticky? It doesn't stay on. You can only do one match property at a time, and then you got to click it again and do it again, and select the one you want the properties to follow, and so on and so forth. So now it is actually sticky. So I can select some text, and then I can say match properties. You can see it's a toggle. It stays on until you turn it off. And then you can just go ahead and select, whatever text you want to have the same types of properties, and it will continue to do that until you toggle it back off. So that was put into AutoCAD 2016. All right, let's go to Geometric Center. This was also a wish list request. Always get out of the mText dialog box first. Look at the command line. And big wish list. Augie wish list request is the ability to find the geometric center of an object. We know how to get to the center of an arc or a circle, but we'd probably have to draw some type of construction lines or get really creative with a variety. Well, you'd have to probably get kind of creative. I would say maybe object snap tracking to find the center of a triangle or a polygon and things like that. Okay, right? So now, if you take a look under Object Snaps, we do have a new geometric center. It's a GCE if you're a typist. Good English, Lynn. And if I go into any command and I click on these, you can see we have a new icon actually to indicate geometric center. It's a nice little asterisk. If I come down here and just move my cursor over the object in the bottom, you'll see there's a center of the arc, but there's the actual geometric center of the entire object. Okay, so that was new, big wish list request. And XREF override. I like XREF override. So that one is, let me go to it because I don't remember. Another system variable. Oh, get out of the command, get out of the command. So if you have XREFs in your drawing file and you want to change the properties of the layers from the XREFs, you can go into the dialog box, the layer dialog box, right? And you can change, for example, the color of those XREF layers. And as long as the objects are by layer, the colors will change in your drawing, right? Okay, if the objects are not by layer, it just will laugh at you and mock you, and too bad, right? So there's a new override that allows you to tell it, I don't care what the properties are on the objects from the XREF, I want you to allow me to control them in the layered dialog box. Right, so let me show you what I'm talking about. It's kind of interesting. I'm not sure if CAD managers would like that or not. Kind of, maybe there was, I don't know. You could have just had a bunch of people that were bad at drawing, right? That didn't know what they were doing. So here I have an XREF in this drawing, and actually inside of those 3 viewports back there, those are all XREFs in there. And I'm going to go just to the XREF layers. I'm going to grab all those layers, just to kind of show you what I'm talking about. And I am going to select them all, and I'm going to change the color of those layers. Let's change them to green today. Okay, so you can see some of the objects changed to green and a bunch of them did not. That's because those objects are not by layer. So if I go into XREF override, a new system variable, because we don't have enough system variables, right? And I set it to 1. Now watch, see, they're all going to change no matter what. It doesn't affect the drawing that was brought in, the original drawing. It only affects this drawing. And it's a toggle as well, so you can change your mind at any point in time and put it back. Okay, it's only temporary. It's not going to cause any damage, any harm. But if you want to print it out a certain way, you can override those. And then the sysvar monitor. This isn't even in the, it's not even in the menu. It's not in the ribbon. Top secret. Have you ever loaded a Lisp routine where it changed a bunch of system variables and you didn't realize it until you tried to use AutoCAD and bad things were happening? Ever? No? Just me? All your Lisp routines are perfect. All right, good. So there's a new system variable called sysvar monitor. I think maybe CAD managers would like this. Someone's computer is all messed up, and who knows, maybe they did it themselves. You can just have this set up so you can just run it at any given time, and it will make everything back to the way it used to be. So what you put in here is you put the system variables that you care about. And those are important ones like attribute dia. And if you don't know what that is, I'll show you in a minute. And pick first. And actually, a lot of these are defaults that come with the sysvar monitor because the product support people are actually tired of answering the question on the phone and realizing that these system variables got turned off, either from running a routine or because they didn't know what they were, they accidentally turned it off, okay? So a lot of these are already in here. You can control them yourself. Add anything that is your pet peeve. You can say edit list. You can grab anything, maybe MT, jig, string. We'll be talking about that later. And you can bring it over. You can give it whatever setting you want it to be. And then the system variable editor will actually, if you have these selected, the system variable editor will let you know if things change, which is nice. You can tell it to violently tell you with a big bubble or just to let you know at the command line. It's up to you. I like the bubble. I want it to be clear. All right, so I'm going to run a Lisp routine that I messed up called burst it. Very similar to the burst express tool, which allows you to explode a block with attributes and keep the attribute values, not put it back to the attribute definition. I'm sure many of you have used burst. Right? You guys are sneezers today, sneezing. Hear the sneezing, bless you. So I'm just going to come over here, I'm going to select this block, and it does all kinds of great things. It explodes the block and leaves the attribute value, but you'll see in the lower right-hand corner of the screen it also says, hey, one or more system variables has changed. Okay, so let's say I don't know that. And let's say, let me just show you what it changed. Pick first got messed up. I'm going to select these objects first, and then go into the erase command. I would expect to be able to erase the objects I selected first, and it totally ignores me and asks me to select objects. Okay, that's one of the system variables a lot of people get mixed up on, and that call product support on. That's one of the defaults. And this is actually a great way to torture your coworker. The next one, somebody turned off file dia. If I go into the open command, you will see that it's actually asking you, I'll close this, at the command line to input the directory structure for the drawing file you want to open. Do you guys even know how to do that anymore? C:// blah, blah. We don't even know how to do that anymore. We're used to picking it in a dialog box. Great way to torture your coworkers. It'll drive them nuts. At dia, set it to 0. Make sure they're not using this new command, okay? Sysvar monitor. So let's go back into the sysvar monitor. And you will see that it says alert, alert, alert. 3 things got changed. Mirror text is in there by default as well. So it's very simple. Reset all, and then we move on, and life is good again. Very, very simple. So that's a sysvar monitor. That was way over a minute for that. But it's kind of important. All right. Click. Ooh, what happened? I don't know what happened there. Doesn't matter. We're smart. We can figure it out. And incidentally, there's a handout posted with all of this information in it. It goes through the tips exactly the same way. Some of you probably already downloaded it. It goes through the tips. It explains them all. It is up there, just so you know. All right. And I also posted the tips and tricks booklet up there. The PDF makes a great Christmas present. Mom will love it. You can even take an extra one for Mom. All right, so layer translator. Have you ever been in a situation where you had let's go over here, to a group of layers in a drawing, and then they change the standards on you. Now they want you to change the layer names and the properties and all that to match a different standard. And hopefully you did not just go into layer dialog box and change them all individually unless you get paid by the hour, in which case that's exactly what I would do. So there's a very cool command called latrans, and it's probably up there in that ribbon somewhere. It stands for translate, translator, translate. And this is a listing of all the layers in the drawing I'm in. You do have to have a drawing file that has the correct layers. And then you would load that drawing file that has the correct layers. I'm just going to, what drawing? I'm just going to select any drawing file. But you would load the one that has the right layers in it for the new standard. And then you literally select a layer on the left in the current drawing, and you pick the one that you want to map it with on the right. Tedious, but way better than doing them individually in the layer properties manager. And you click it and you say map. You can click map same if you want to, and then any of them that have the same names will just automatically be mapped. The key here, really, it tells you what happens, the new properties it's going to get. The real key here, though, is that you can save these settings. So let's say you have to do this to a whole bunch of drawing files. You don't want to do this for every drawing file. You can save the mapping. And then the next time you come into lay trans, it saves it as a DWS file. The next time you come to lay trans, when you click on load, you're not going to pick the drawing file that has the right properties and standards set. You are going to click on the you're going to click on the DWS file, and then it will map them, and then it's very, very fast. Really nice command. Been in AutoCAD a long time. A lot of people don't know about it. And what else have we got? Lay walk. Oh, this is an easy one. I'll even pick it from the ribbon just to, because that's what I'm supposed to do. So it's got the layers dialog box, the layers panel, and you'll see it's the one with the feet, right? I'm sure many of you know this. It's just a really fast way to find out what's on each layer. And you can even do the opposite, much better than going to layer dialog box and controlling it that way. You could even do the opposite. You can go into lay walk, you can select objects, and it will tell you what layers those objects are on. Whoop. What did I just do? Lay walk, let's try that again. Click on here, pick the layers. There we go. Okay. What else? Lay walk. This, yeah, we'll do it in this drawing. This came out a couple of releases. Well, lay merge has been a command. It's been around a long time. Now they actually incorporated it into the layer dialog box. So let me actually switch to a different current layer. And here we have, bless you, 3 plant layers. Plant something shrubs, another one. And we want to merge them all into one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select these two layers, right click. And then merge selected layers to. You select the layer you want to merge those 2 layers onto. So I want them to go on the plants layer. So there's only 1 layer left when we're done, right? And it comes back and it says the selected layers will be merged into layer plants. What it should say is we're about to delete those layers that you just selected and they will be gone for your life forever. But that's too big to put into a dialog box. So yes, I would like, if you have fear of commitment, do not do that. So actually, if I take a look at the layers, you'll see that now I just have the 1 plants layer. And you can undo it. It's not really forever. Forever. And then while we're at it, lay del. I'm sure many of you have used this as a fabulous tool. One of my favorite commands. If you've ever had that one layer that you can't get rid of no matter what, like you turn off all the other layers and there's nothing on the layer and maybe somebody hit a space bar or something evil like that and you can't get rid of the layer because there's still an object on there even though you can't see it, and you go to purge and it won't let you get rid of it. So, I mean, it's not like those layers are really a problem. It's not like they're really slowing you down. But that is not the point, right? You want that layer to die and to go away, and it's bugging you, and every time you go in the layer dialog box, there it is staring at you and taunting you. Okay, maybe it's just me. But anyway, so lay del does not care what's on that layer. So often a layer is referenced in a block definition or for dimensions or something like that. And so lay del is awesome because it will actually open up that block definition with the offending layer and rip out that layer and then redefine the block and delete the layer, and now that is power, right? Just remember, where there is power, there is danger, okay? So keep that in mind. And 2 layers it won't let you get rid of. 0 and def points, right? Okay. Set by layer. So we've all worked with badly behaved AutoCAD users, correct? They just don't get that whole by layer thing. Something's red, they make it red. I want it red, I will make it red. They don't, the whole layer thing is lost on them, right? Okay. So if you take a look at this drawing file, you will see that all the layers are gray, which you would never do. And if you take a look at the drawing, clearly there are some things which are not gray, which means that somebody was misbehaved, am I right? CAD managers are like, oh, it's awful. They should be locked up for a long time. Fire them all. Okay, so if I select this object here and I go into properties, you can see it has a color and a line type, not by layer. I could fix that. Not too hard to fix that. That's not the end of the world. This is a block. If I click on that and I go into layer properties, it tells me it's by layer. I'm like, you're a liar. Because if you were by layer, surely it would be gray. But we all know what happens when you put objects into blocks that are not by layer. Or even worse, if there's a block inside of a block, a nested block where they didn't do by layer. And if I have to fix that, I am cranky now, right? That's a bigger deal to fix. So a few releases ago, a lot of people don't know about it, is the fabulous set by layer. Come on, come on. Don't do a zoom extents then, that's fine. Set by layer. Makes everything, there's no Y, right? Oh, wait, didn't I type it in? Wait. Oh, SETI by layer. I'm like, wait a minute, I typed it in, right? This is why I love this, because with the last few releases of AutoCAD, you do not have to know how to spell anything. You could like spell line, L-N-I-E, and it's like, I got it, I got it. You meant line. Love it. You could even set up your own for if you keep making a mistake. Like in my phone, the O is so close to the I, I've spelled tomorrow wrong so many times it put it in the dictionary with an I instead of with an O, which is really irritating because now it thinks it's okay for me to spell it that way, and it's not. And so you can actually customize that. I think I showed that like last year or the year before that. Okay, anyway, set by layer. Oh, I want everything to be fixed. Change by block to by layer, you betcha, including those nested blocks, those blocks, you betcha. Now everything is gray, and you don't have to fire the person, which is nice. Yay. And copy to layer, I'm not going to show that one to you. You guys are smart. It's easy to figure out. Copy to layer kills 2 birds with 1 stone. If you read the handout, I'm always like, why are we always killing birds? But, and why do we feel the need to do it with 1 stone? I don't know. But anyway, if you want to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, if you've ever wanted to copy objects and after you copied them, then you ended up changing them to a different layer, copy to layer lets you kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It does a copy and then asks you what layer you want them to land on. And if you want to very quickly put a bunch of layers into, let's go to one that doesn't have much, like this guy here. If you want to put a bunch of layers from another drawing into a drawing that you already have, there's a really lazy way of doing this. Those of you who've used AutoCAD, let me just show you the layers in here. Not many, right? If you've used AutoCAD for a long time, this used to be the only way we knew how to do it. You go on the insert command and you find the drawing file that has the layers that you want. And I'll say the ribbon drawing. Bless you again. Okay, now at this point in time, what do we do? What do we do? You hit escape. So we didn't really insert anything. There's nothing in there. But now if you take a look at all the layers in here, you will see I have a whole bunch of them from the other drawing file, which seemed interesting, huh? And if you go to annotate, you'll actually see that if you have any text styles or dimension styles or M-leader styles, those come across as well. So it's just a speedy way when you don't have everything in the drawing that you want, but you have another drawing that has it to bring it all in, okay? One way of doing it. And we'll take a look at another way of doing it in just a second. And then if I had it my way, there would like be this one command that you could go into and you would say, I want all my hatches on this layer, I want all my text on this layer, I want all my dimensions on this layer, and whatever it is else that you do. But we don't have that. So they're kind of sprinkled around on the ribbon. I don't know if anybody's from the product team is here. I hope they wrote that down. Looking around. Anybody? No? All right. So if let's go back over, let's find a drawing with some hatching. If you can do it, however, for hatching, and I showed you how to do it for dimensioning. Just making sure you guys know it's in there. It's kind of hidden. If you drop down properties here, you'll actually see that there is an option where you can set a default hatch layer, okay? I highly recommend it. I'm all about saving clicks. I'm big into that. He who dies with the least clicks in AutoCAD wins, for sure. Great, moving along. And I tried to use all new tips from last year. There's just a couple that I love so much I kept in. So if you were in the class last year, you shouldn't be sitting here saying, oh, she's already showed all that. I might have showed him, I've been doing this for 15 years or whatever. I'm sure there's some from previous releases before that. But it should be almost all new. There's like 5 that are not. So, do you guys still use Design Center? Yeah? So I kind of feel like Design Center was really popular for a while, and then, I don't know, it kind of disappeared off the face of the earth, and he's not cool anymore. It's almost like he walked up on the stage with stormtroopers, but then did not know when Star Wars opened. Okay, so if you weren't here earlier, I'm not going to explain it again. And so Design Center kind of like lost favor with people, but Design Center is actually a really cool tool. Same deal, it allows you to take all kinds of things from one drawing to another. You can see here blocks and view styles and dimension styles and layers and so on and so forth. So another way to bring layers into a drawing file that doesn't bring a bunch of other stuff with it is literally you can just go into any drawing file and select, whichever layers you want, pick a whole bunch of them, whatever makes you happy. Let's do a whole bunch. And then drag and drop them into the drawing. And it's just it's that simple. And the same is true with any of those things that you saw on the list. Oh, I'm not on there anymore, but you can look over here. So it's the same idea. You can drag and drop from another drawing, and Design Center is really cool about that. There's also this great search capability. If I come into Design Center, it's kind of broken, and so how else do you get to Design Center? Control? Oh, okay. Control 2. I'm big into the control key combinations, Control 2. So it still has favor enough to have its own control key combination, which I think is good. There is a very cool search capability, which is kind of broken. Did you just see that? It went, you want to search? And then it went, just kidding. Did you see that it went away? So if you're a programmer, you know that it lost, focus, right? Just lost, I'm like losing it today. Too much going on this week. Too many stormtroopers. Did I say Star Troopers? Right back down. I'm surprised I didn't say Star Trek instead of Star Wars. I would have been out forever. Never invited back, right? Out. Okay, so anyway, so it's still there. If I come down here, you'll see it's there. You just have to go back and find him. You can Alt-Tab till you find him. It's up to you. But this is a great capability. If you're looking for something, you can't remember where it is, look at all the things it will search for. It's probably easier for you to see this. It searches for all kinds of things. You basically just pick what it is you want it to search for. If I come up here to blocks, you pick the directories you want it to search. If you start at the root directory, be patient because it takes a while to go through all the files on your computer. It's better if you search specific directories, obviously. But you can search for a lot of things. My favorite thing that it does is it does what I call a reverse search for XREFs. I can go into my drawing file. I can see the XREFs in my drawing file from the XREF manager, right? Have you ever wanted to go the other way? I want to know what other drawings is a specific drawing referenced into. If I change this drawing, how many other drawings is it going to affect? Does that make sense? And there's no easy way of doing that in AutoCAD. The Vault has this great command called where used. So this is kind of how I would suggest doing it inside of AutoCAD. So I'm going to, and you have to, it's case sensitive. So let me make sure that you understand that. Let me make sure I get this right. Where am I? I'm all the way down here. Good, that's good. Stair 1. And then I have the directory I wanted to search. I tried to make it nice and precise so that we don't have to spend a lot of time waiting for it and search now. Case sensitive, don't forget that. So you can see that it doesn't look case sensitive. Okay, it used to be case sensitive. It did, because I remember I would type one thing in and it would be mad at me if I didn't get it exactly right. Or they're not showing me exactly, well, let's see. Will it show me? This is just all the names of the drawing files. Ooh. Show me at the end? No. Okay, so it shows me all the drawing files that XREF is referenced into. Right? Then you could see what would happen if you changed that drawing file. It could be case sensitive, it could be not. That part I don't know. Yay, she's such a good teacher. I don't know if it is. You can try it. It's not like you wouldn't be able to figure that one out on your own. Okay, so I showed you the tip of the day. If you want to learn all kinds of other things about AutoCAD, I thought I'd throw in a page that has some really good resources that I didn't even know existed, and I only found out because I visited the people that do it. I don't know if I have anybody here from the Autodesk Knowledge Network. Anybody here? These guys work really hard providing us with information that we don't even know. How many of you have been to the Autodesk Knowledge Network? Oh, that's so sad. All right, because I can't. So in your handouts, you can just click on them to get to the right URLs for everything I'm about to show you. On the other hand, here's the Autodesk Knowledge Network. You can ask it like any question. Pick the product you're talking about, ask it any question. And I'm sure someone's asked it before, and when people ask questions, these fabulous people in product support answer the questions. Or maybe it will find a resource from somewhere else. So like if I said, let's see, how to turn off the Start tab. Let's ask him that. So I didn't pick one, didn't have an answer to. Turn off the Start tab. And then this is where I tap dance. Okay, so this guy goes into a bar. It's thinking, oh, that wasn't too bad. And it looks like, well, that's not what I asked, how to turn off the Start tab in AutoCAD 2016. And you'll see that it goes into details on exactly how to do it and tells me to set start mode to 0 and so on and so forth. So and that's for any product, not just AutoCAD. So that is the Autodesk Knowledge Network. In the handout, it shows you exactly where to click. Of course, you can Google it as well. And then they also do this, so it used to be like every 2 weeks, and now I think it's just once a month, but you can go back and look at all the ones that they already did. These webinars called Build Your AutoCAD IQ. And I have to tell you, these product support people are fabulous. They love what they do. They're really passionate about what they do. And so they're like, oh, we want to share it with other people. We know how to do these things that we've learned because we work in product support. So they have these webinars that you can tune in on. Anybody been on them? Yeah, okay. Pardon? You can find them on YouTube. Or you can, yeah. And there's a listing, actually I also have a listing of how you can get to all the old ones as well in your handouts. And what's the other one I have? I did that one? She's like looking at me to like, and then the help arrows. This is really mostly for those of you who took a while to get adjusted to the ribbon. And one of the frustrating things when you're adjusting to the ribbon is that you have a hard time finding all of the commands, right? So just a cool feature that they put in. I'm going to, 2 releases ago, I'm going to go into help. No, I don't want to do it that way. I'm going to even be lazier than that. Let's just type it in right here. Let's say I'm looking for a very complicated command to find, like the trim command. You will see that almost all of the tools have a little find button in help, and then it shows you where it is. I know, how cool is that? Where was that when the ribbon first came out, right? Oh, you guys are so easy. ISO draft, do you guys even know what that does? It's on the status bar. It very quickly switches you over to isometric drawing mode. And if I do a let's go find it, do a find, you'll see that I still have a system variable change down there. You'll see that it also is showing you where it is in status bar. It'll also show you if it's in the application menu, right? Find. Okay, I'm behind, huh? I'm behind. Oh, it's my dog. That's not a bunny rabbit. It's my dog Tiffany, and she is not a Steelers fan, despite what you see up there. She has since switched to the Broncos. Oh, really? Peyton Manning? Hello? She loves Peyton Manning. She has a little Peyton Manning jersey, maybe. All right, Autodesk Exchange. Who's been to the Autodesk Exchange? Let's say you can't figure out how to do something on your own. Maybe someone else figured it out for you, and they wrote a nice routine. It's that X in the upper right-hand corner. Do not confuse it with this X. That does something completely different, right? So click on the X, and you will see, oh, come on, you can do it for me. I know it. It will take you to the Autodesk Exchange. It will, if you're in AutoCAD, it will take you to the apps for AutoCAD. A lot of these apps are free. Not a surprise, the most popular apps are the free ones, or a trial one that's also free. And then it has the most popular. You used to just have the most popular apps, but none of the paid apps ever showed up. So anyway, you can go find all kinds of things. You can have it do a search. I can like type in block, and it will find all of the various tools that have to do with blocks. Maybe you're not on AutoCAD 2016. You can tell it what releases you're after. Very friendly. And a lot of them are free. Just nice people who wrote the apps who put them up there. And if I go back into AutoCAD here, you will also see, I'm sure there's like the featured apps tab that shows you, probably shouldn't, there we go. Apparently no featured apps, there we go. So you can just take a look at if you have waiting for something to happen. And add-ins has the ones that you've installed. Do I have time? My favorite, Hangman. Free app, somebody at Autodesk wrote it, it's posted, it's approved by Autodesk, I love it. Okay, so first thing you should know, it gives you this little dialog box that tells you it's easy to get rid of it very quickly in case your boss walks by. You hit any key on the keyboard, I love it. You hit any key on the keyboard or you click outside of Hangman and it's gone. To be honest, it's best on a black background as you can see, right? I have a white background, boss is totally gonna notice that. So make sure you have the background set to dark. And then it's just really a matter of picking. It's hard to see too if you don't have a black background to see. I'm gonna yell with something out. I can't hear you. Would you L? Oh. T? Y? R. Are you guys glad you're in this class? K? H? Oh. G? I'm just going to go. Oh, you lost. But look, if you just like do that. Oh, you have to hit OK first? What if my boss walks over right then? You just click off of it. It's gone. All right. Come on, it's fun. If you have a black background, you can see it better. Oh, I gotta hurry. All right, hot grips, things like that. Let's go over to this drawing file. We'll go through them really, really fast. Okay, you can have more than one hot grip using the shift key, right? You guys know that? Right? Do whatever. Line to arc continuation. An oldie but goodie. If you go in the line command, you draw a line, and I will not have it orthogonal just to kind of show you how this works. I go out of the line command. You can always pick up off of the last line by going back in the line command, hitting an extra enter, right? Did you guys know that? Just in case you didn't know that. It's actually cooler with arcs. If you go in the arc command and you hit an extra enter, it will find the last line that was drawn. It will automatically draw an arc tangent to the line. Did you know that? Go back in the arc command, hit an extra enter. It will draw an arc tangent to the last arc that was drawn. If the last thing you drew was an arc, just depends whatever the last object was, if it was a line or an arc. If you hold down the control key, you can even reverse it so that it goes the other direction, which is a new feature, came out 2015-14, that if you hold down the control key, it will reverse the direction of the arc. So they don't have to always be counterclockwise. And if I go back into the line command, hit an extra enter, and the last object that was drawn was an arc, you'll actually find that you can draw a line that's tangent to the arc. Okay? And I mentioned control to reverse an arc. Have you ever had a viewport inside of another viewport you tried to get to? Ever? End up moving the one so you can get into it? Okay. Control R will actually cycle through all of your viewports until you get to the one that you need. I think that Jeannie showed this morning. I saw her hand out later. I was like, oh, we're always on the same track. So this is a polyline. I want to just get rid of that one segment of a polyline. I'd have to explode it and get rid of it. If you hold down the control key and you click on it, that will allow you to select it individually, and then you can hit a delete and it gets rid of it, but it does maintain the fact that it is still a polyline. Blend curves. That one is... Blend is a command that came out a couple of releases ago. Did not have a good press agent. A lot of people I find don't know about it. I love Blend. How many of you use Blend? See? Terrible press agent. Just you. You're the only one that found it. So if I wanted to just put a nice little curve from this curve to that curve, I could go into P-edit, and we all know really bad things happen. Like this massive, crazy tangent arc, and bad things would happen. So if you go to the Home tab on the ribbon, it's hiding underneath fillet. There's a very cool command called blend curves. It allows you to pick the two endpoints of any curves. It puts a beautiful little curve in there. It's fabulous. Save you lots of time. You know, if I accidentally deleted the parts of this arc, you could use blend, or you could just draw a whole new circle like you should. But it's not even quite right there. But if I did use P-edit on this, I would get some crazy wonky arc. I can actually pick the two endpoints here, and it puts a nice curve. Now, there are a lot of variables involved now as to what kind of curve you get. So definitely, you have to look into that so you get the correct curve, right? And join. So if you take a look at this, so join's been around a long time. Join is a great way to get rid of extra objects in your join file and to convert, I think, a fast way to convert individual objects into, like, polylines, for example. If you take a look at this, you can see you have all these individual little, awful. Shame on them. All these individual little segments. What is up with that, right? They got paid by the object. If you get paid by the object, don't use join. I can go in the join command. I could say, I want you to join everything. Didn't used to, so if you used join a long time ago, hopefully you probably gave up on it. It used to be so picky. You had to pick the first source object, and now I just say all. I would like you to join everything. Let's have a great big huge party. Join it all together. And then it's simple. Just hit an extra enter, and then it tells you exactly what it did, and you will see that you can see how these guys are all joined together, right? It's fabulous. Don't do that if you get paid by the object. Right, we're getting there. I never make it on time. All right, super, super, super fast. I might skip a couple of these because I'm running out of time. And I know you want the last page of the coworker torture. So let me go over to, what drawing file do I want? Think. Back to tips. I'm sure many of you have discovered this is individual text. Maybe it was in an old drawing file. You really wish that it was M-text. You can select them all. You can go into the fabulous, fabulous Express tools, convert to M-text, and now you can easily control the paragraph, which is often what we want to do with those old text strings. If you go into single line text and into D-text, just making sure that you know, let's make that height of like 3, that first line, you can actually continue to click all over your drawing file. You don't have to go back in. Just keep clicking wherever you want that text to go. A lot of people don't know it. Fourth line. And then you can, end it all. If you accidentally fall out of D-text, you didn't want to use M-text for whatever reason, you want to place a line directly underneath the last D-text. If you go back into the D-text command, did you know if you hit an extra enter, it automatically goes underneath the last one that you did? And then if you want to put it under an existing, right underneath an existing one that was not the last one that you did, if you go back into D-text, and let me turn my objects, oh, they are on. You grab the, oh, that's not D-text anymore, this one. You grab the insertion point, make sure it's the same height, of course, same rotation angle. Hit a space bar, hit an enter, it will take you down to the next line, okay? And fast, fast, fast. Oh, I like this one. We'll see if you do. If I want to edit this attribute, if I double click on it, it takes me into the attribute editor. All right, I like to see it in place. If you hold the control key down and you double click, it will actually allow you to edit in place. So that's control double click. Oh, filled with area, do I have time? Okay, really, really fast. I want to put text on here that tells me the area for this hatch, and I want it to be smart and be able to adapt if I change it. So fields are just a whole class in and of itself. Huge, huge, huge lot going on there. So very, very quickly, and I have this all laid out in your handout. I want to get a field that has to do with an object. I'm going to go ahead and pick the object that I'm interested in. It's this hatch pattern. And then I'm interested in the area, right? And then it lets you pick the format. Do you want it to be architectural, engineering, whatever? I'll leave it at decimal. And you can pick the precision. Let's make it like 2. Say OK, and then just pick basically where you want it to go. OK, all right, so now you can tell it's a field because it has that gray background. That will not print, right? If I make a change to this, it looks like it didn't update, but if you do a regen, it will adapt. Regen, not regen. It'll adapt. So as you continue to modify it, it will stay up to date. So that's a whole other class all into itself. One of my favorite tips. Empty jig string, you guys know this one, right? The sample text string is ABC, right? If I go into text, you can see that mine currently says Twitter, right? You can change that, empty jig string, like you could say go Broncos, even without Peyton. And now if I go in, you can see it changes there. You could put, I hate my job, or I need a raise, 10 characters, or you got to keep it to 10 characters. And it doesn't let you do special characters. Okay, the last 2, almost, last 3. This one. This is for those of you who work in tables and are lazy like me and like less picks than necessary. I want 1.8 in all those squares. I click in that square, and there's this blue diamond, and it says, click and drag to autofill cells, but we don't ever read that, but I'm just going to show you. You can pull it down, and it will fill all the cells with the same amount, right? Cool. Probably more than anything, you want it to be sequential. So pick 2 cells so it knows what number it needs to start with. It knows the, the differential between them. Grab it, pull it down, and it will number for you. And so now that takes me to, let's go back. We'll just go over here. If I go in the insert command, you will see at the very end, and this is a whole topic too, Autodesk Seek. There's a fabulous group at Autodesk called Autodesk Seek, and they work really hard. It's the land of free content, essentially. Why should you draw a chair when there's all kinds of chairs out there? Of course, it's not your personal content, but there's a lot of content up there because they want you to buy their chair, right? So you'll see I get all kinds of chairs. I get Revit files, I get AutoCAD files. There's all kinds of options on here, and there's pages of them, and you can continue to go down and pick the chair that you want. There's 2D chairs, there's 3D chairs. You can select the chair you want, and then you can bring it into your drawing file. Okay? That's Autodesk Seek, also in the handout. So now, that was the next slide. I just happened to know what it was. All right, okay, this is the best part of class, and then I'll be quiet. Oh, I need to look somewhere else. Okay, you, because you have your flashlight in the back. Don't come up, but you get the three-legged, or the two-legged, one-legged, five-legged. Okay, all right, so let's move along. This is the fun part. These are similar to last year, because they're fun. These are my favorite. There's a couple that we didn't do last year. Okay, so Control 9. I love this. You need to be quiet. That's because I changed empty jig string. Okay, this is just ways to torture your coworkers. Just do it to the mean ones or the new ones. It's up to you. Control 9 gets rid of the command line. You can actually abolish this if you want to, so it doesn't even tell you to say yes. And then the guy's like, make sure that dynamic input is off too. And then I'm going to go in the line command. Wait, you can't see I'm typing, nothing shows up. That's fun. Zoom factor. Zoom factor controls the speed that you zoom in or zoom out. Okay, it's usually set 50, 60, whatever. I like to set it to 3. So now let's go into a drawing that's a little bit more fun. Let's go into like this one. You see I'm like zooming out. Zoom in. That's fun. They won't know what's going on. You'll be like, come on, what's up with you? You're so slow. Zoom factor. Really? That's because I was in a different drawing. Okay, and then this next one, I don't even have to show you, zoom wheel. So if you set zoom, well, I have to show you because I'm trying to remember which is which, but it's in the notes. Zoom wheel. So zoom wheel reverses the zoom. Okay, so right now we have it set so that when you move forward, it zooms in, and when you move back, it zooms out. Okay? If you use Autodesk Inventor, completely the opposite. If you use both products, you lose your mind, right? So they decided that they would add a system variable, and they have one in Inventor too, that allows you to basically reverse the zoom. So fun to do to your coworker, right? So if you set zoom wheel to 1, when they go to zoom in, it's going to zoom back out. And it's fun. I'm just saying it's fun. Pick box. Set pick box. You can set it to 0. I go in the erase command. Right? Or you can set it to 50. Oh. I didn't go far enough. You guys use your arrow keys to go back through the previous commands. 50. And now I go. Let me zoom in and get closer. Oh, it zooms slow. All right. Undefine. So this is my favorite. Well, alert's my favorite too. Undefine. So undefine allows you to undefine any AutoCAD command. For example, I want to undefine the line command. Now when I go in the line command, it doesn't even show up. And if I try to type it in, does it show up? Oh, what? Oh, it did something else. Did you see that? If I come up here and I go to the Home tab on the ribbon, because it found something else that had an L in it, right? And if I click on line, now it will tell you unknown command. Okay? It's great. I prefer to do things like save, QSave, and save all. All those are my favorite. Just do them all. You can do them all. Okay, now just so you know, in case somebody does this to you, there's a redefine command. Do not undefine the redefine command. So I can put it back in, and now if I go on the line, it finds it, and blah, blah, blah. That's fine. Okay, the last one, alert. So this is a list routine. It's in your handout in case you don't remember it. It's really fun, though. Alert allows you to create a dialog box. It says whatever you want it to say. Reformatting your hard drive. Please wait. Double click. So you put whatever you wanted to say in double quotes. Open paren, close paren, the format's in your handout. And then I love this because reformatting your hard drive, please wait, right? And then there's no cancel, right? It just says okay. This is great to do to the new guy. You can just see the new guy going, Now, it used to be, way back when, you can click on the X now, but they didn't used to have that, so it was way more fun. Because there was nothing you could do to get rid of it, but anyway. Okay, so there you go. Oh, on that note, I'm all right. I'm over my time. Sorry, I'm going to be quiet now. Not too far over my time. Remember, if you want to A good portion of the classes from previous releases, all of my tips and tricks classes are posted on AU Online. They're absolutely free. And this one will be posted too in case you want to hear it all over again. Every couple of weeks I do those video tips and tricks. I'm sure many of you have seen those. If you go to Cadalyst.com, you can find those up there. What else? That's my blog. If you want to, you guys are like, ow, I'm out of here. Bye. I'm a little hurt. Is this all I mean to you after all we've been through? All right. Thank you. All right, that's it.